I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to the AOS Monday show, hosted by me, your compare with the something, and then Nathan Prescott.
Hello.
And also, James Powell.
Hey up.
There we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Grot Gang. Drop your Grot Gang emojis in the chat. It's Monday, which means we're talking Age of Sigmar. Today is going to be a fun roller coaster of a ride. Thank you to everyone else working on Patreon. Thank you to everyone who drinks loads of water and listens to podcasts at the same time. And thirdly, and most importantly, hello to the Twitch chat. Gitley, Hookapin, Pete Pratt, Primark, and T-Man Cash, Korg. Where's Nikos and Tom? They are going to be here on Thursday for the 40k show. Thanks, Stuart Hastings, for subscribing, and also thank you to Elko Reb. Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about some new GHB news, and each one of us has prepared a sassy rundown. I've written things. James, have you written things?
I've written things.
Nathan?
No, I've thought about things occasionally.
Perfection.
Yeah.
Perfection. That's it. Yeah. What things have you been? What things have you been thinking about?
So many things. I've been thinking about gargants a lot and putting things in their pants. That's about it, really.
So many things. One thing. What specifically have you been thinking about gargants?
Just what to put in their pants. I finished one, so now I've got two. So that's my next one is done.
And I'm sending you one. Or you're going to socially distance. Yeah, what's your gargant's name?
That's a great question. I haven't given him a name yet.
Would you be willing? Would you be willing to run a competition to let other people name your giant?
They'll probably just name it Giant Face or something. I'd be open to suggestions.
Okay, so if anyone would like to follow Nathan at Nath Prescott on Twitter and suggest names for his giant, he would love that. Tweet him daily with various different names.
Yep. The light is terrible, but
yeah, Nathan, you've painted him like a blick fella.
Yeah, he's brother from another mother, and yeah, he's going to go with my other giant. They're going to be a couple of butties, and then when your giant comes, then there will be 3 butties running around the field. Just
keeps blurring into the background now.
No, I love it. It's what colour are you going to do the third one?
I don't know.
Because you're in a bit of a bind here now. Because if you've done like a pinkish fella and a brownish fella,
and a Caucasian fellow,
and a blackish fellow, the problem is if you do another Caucasian fellow, you make the black fellow a minority, and you shouldn't do that, right?
Okay.
So,
there's loads of options, aren't there? The world is full of options, and Mortal Realms are probably full of more options, aren't they? So,
or you could just do him yellow and have a Simpson.
Bright yellow.
Yeah,
Simpson yellow.
Homer the Giant Simpson. Yeah.
That's a great suggestion. An albino one.
Yeah,
that would be cool, right?
Yeah. There's loads of things. Yeah, could do a blue one. Or a green one, or any sort of one. Yeah.
Have you thought about doing one like ogre skin?
Ogre skin.
Yeah, like not ogre, sorry, Uruk skin, so greenish.
Yeah. Greenish one. Yeah, that's another option as well. Potentially, but I think I could just do what are they called? A concept one.
Just dry brush it.
Just dry brush one. Grey.
Nathan,
His name will be Joe.
Okay, perfect. I was speaking to him the other day. Also, thank you very much to Crazy Horse for donating some subscriptions to other people in the chat. That's lovely of you. So we've done that, and also welcome everyone who's joined us live. James, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, been pretty good. What have I done? I've been bad for Monday's show. So I've played some 40k, some socially distanced 40k.
Nice.
And then I picked up I had my elves delivered. And then I've built them. So I've built all of my elves.
Okay, so did you only get the one box of elves?
Just one box. I don't know why people brought multiples. I know lots of people did. But I there was no way I could be bothered to try and sell books. So yeah, just one box. They've all come. They weren't as pleasurable to build as I was wanting.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Give me your review.
So I would say, they're really nice. Like, they're finished. They're done. I should have brought them up, shouldn't I? They look really good. Finished, but I've not seen that many mold lines on a model in God knows how long. And I don't know if everyone had that problem. The Spearmen had a few. I think this is the weirdest bit, so I'm going to talk about it. And Twitch chat, if you agree or disagree, be cool to know whether it was just a weird box. So I found that the horses, so the cavalry, had more mold lines than I've seen on a model in God knows how long, and in really annoying places. I would say the Spearman's mold lines were better, but again in like on their shoulder pads in the middle of the flat bit, that's some bad place to put a mold line. And then my Eltharion had no mold lines.
Okay. And didn't you say the horses were bad? Gitli is also saying on the Dawn Riders that they were really bad as well. He's echoing your sentiment in the chat.
The Dawn Riders, I think, are the worst mold lines I've seen on any model
recently.
I've
built
ever in the last 4 years, and that's not just Games Workshop. So that's any model that I've built. I think they were the worst. Yeah, and they're in stupid places. So there's a mold line on the back of the seat that the rider sits on.
Interesting.
And I guess because maybe that's a center point from where the cast was, but then to try and clean it up, it's a fairly horrible place to try and clean up.
Okay. Elkareb, thanks for the bits donation. Oh, what a lovely man. Oh, that's lovely. I've never seen mold lines like it. It says Gitli. It's the kind of mold lines you tell future generations about when they whinge about mold lines. Yeah, which is weird. That's honestly a super weird reaction. And you would think of all of the units or things that they were going to produce, the elves, the pretty elves, would be the cleanest and have the sharpest lines. I mean, because Necromunda models have got some fantastically small elements.
Yep.
But I have a question actually. Are there lots of parts, or do they build fairly quickly? There's not a lot of parts.
There's not a huge amount of parts, but every part is tiny, so they go together really well. I'd say probably one of the negatives is they're a bit I guess, and I was discussing, and again, one of these is 40k, so I apologise. But a friend of mine is just getting into 40k and was really excited about the new, the newest Chaos Space Marine start collecting, the bog standard one.
Mm-hmm.
And I obviously, one of the last start collecting boxes I ever brought was the Chaos Warriors one, and both of which were really cool models, looked really good, but actually when you get them and you hold them in your hand, you're like, oh, cool. There is no customization to these. So the Dawn Riders and the Spearman and Eltharion, because obviously he's a named character, there isn't really any customization to. They just come as they are. And I think for the Spearman, probably fine. But if you wanted to do a whole army of cavalry, if all the mold lines are that bad, they might be annoying.
That's really frustrating. Because the only reason I asked that is because I was wondering if they're moving away towards having more regular, smaller pieces. They're you can build the army faster, and they haven't really thought it through. But I think it is very, very weird that is the case. Especially recently, maybe it's a new person. Yornhammer 40k, Rob loves Skaven. Now give me 10. No, I don't. Reckon we're going to see points for Sons of Behemoth in new GHB. I'm not sure about that. Okay, well, weird. But are you happy to have them all built? Another thing that came up recently is I actually have been loving all of the posts on Twitter about the all the elves. I've seen loads and loads of people's elves on Twitter. Like, they've looked really pretty. People have done some paint jobs. They've been really, really nice. But I also are laughing about the spears, because there's no way you're ever going to be able to make base-to-base like contact with the spear units, right?
That's the point. You keep everyone at 3 inches.
Are they socially distanced elves? Is that the purpose? Okay.
Yeah, that's why they were made right now. They were like, we'll hold this. We'll start a global pandemic. We'll make people wait. And then when we've got that, 2 meters in inches in Age of Sigmar looks like, we'll make some models. That's what happened.
Amazing. Nath, FYI, we were going to talk about the news for General's Handbook, and they've just released an article, so we're going to talk about that in a moment.
Cool.
So that's fun. Nath, have you seen the elves online? What are you thinking?
They got long sticks, don't they?
They have.
Really long sticks. They look right, except their sticks are very long. I mean, they look cool having long sticks, but it just means going to be really awkward to play with them, isn't it?
Yes.
Like you said. So that'll be interesting. I've broken quite a few people's models and not really enjoyed the thing, but I think I might be doing it a bit more. So sorry about that in advance, elf players.
Yeah, the elven spears. Yeah. I don't imagine them. I don't know, James. How thick are the spears? Like, do you think they'll survive transport? Is what I'm asking.
No.
No?
So maybe that's a lie. So I would say it will depend on your method of transportation. So years ago, when I got back into the hobby and I was playing Stormcast, I had a bunch of fulminators that broke so many times. I binned every case that Games Workshop have ever sold and went to magnets and magnetizing. So I think if you transport models magnetized, then they'll be fine. If you're still using a foam case, then maybe it's time to change.
Okay.
If you want to use them. Because, I mean, so it's like, I don't know, it's about, I should have got one. It's big. Like, it's a big spear, and it's maybe a millimeter thick.
Okay. All right.
So they're going to break, and if they're not going to break, they're definitely bending. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more of those armies on the tabletop and people's paint schemes online as we go. For me, Age of Sigmar wise, I was started painting up the. I don't know if you guys should be able to see it. Started painting up this young fellow, as you can see here, which I've been thoroughly enjoying. Which is nice. I'm doing some orange on him. So looking forward to maybe finishing off some of my Zinch. I finished my Big Bird now, which is cool. But that's it for me. Right, let's have a talk about, unless anyone's got any other news, the fact that they've announced the General's Handbook today. How are you both feeling about that? Nath?
Good. Although somebody's already mentioned that in the chat. I think you said, I can't see the chat, but you said it earlier. Be interesting to see if all the points for the new, like the stuff that's not been released yet, that might have been released before the General's Handbook, so like the Gargants. Interesting to see if the points are in there for them.
We've got a what's inside the book contents actually. So
okay.
So I'll read that now if you guys are okay with it.
Well,
yeah.
Can I just give some feedback?
Yeah, please.
So firstly, I've just read Hook and Pin's comment in the chat that says there's no more relocation orb. So she seems happy. This deeply saddens me.
Yeah.
Secondly,
yeah.
Really excited, and I know we're going to get there in a minute, but I think it's so important it needs talking about before we talk about the contents. Just skimming it, page 88, our future's made.
Oh my god. All right, so I'll talk about the contents. We'll talk about the contents.
I'd like you to highlight page 88 because that's the most important thing.
Well, I'd like to highlight page 4. Yeah, the player's code. So it looks like there's going to be. So one of the things that happened in 40k recently, and in one of the chapter approves, is they put a kind of like a code of behaviour, code of conduct, which is very wishy-washy, but effectively. So that's in there now. It seems in Age of Sigmar, page 4. Then there is the open play section, which is obviously brilliant. For all the open play guys, that's going to take Sky Battle special rules, Sky Battle duels, Flying Monster War Scrolls, oh my god, Skies of Slaughter campaign, Open War Coalition Battle Generator, amazing. So we'll just skip that now. That all sounds brilliant. And for those guys out there who love it, let's go. Narrative.
What? That open play game is page 6 to page 40.
Well, when you don't have to give a shit about how people engage with it, you can just write whatever. Just
True. I mean, I've just noticed that like 16 pages are just war scrolls, so fair.
yeah. I like the open play guy as well, and I hope he enjoys all of that. But honestly, the Sky Battle sounds good. Doing it, Nathan, do you want to play a Sky Battle?
Yeah, that sounds fun. Give the old gun hauler a run out.
Or some flying squigs.
Flying,
yes.
Yeah.
I think I might just use something that doesn't fly in a Sky Battle, really, to create my own narrative, because it's open play. I obviously don't have to stick to the rules. That's the science of it, right?
Well, yeah, points don't matter, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna only play open play with friends who only have a few models and be like, I'll just bring everything I've got. You bring everything you've got.
Yeah, perfection.
Let's go.
Right, so then there's narrative play games, page 44 to 56. So there's a couple of battle plans there. Really exciting for those narrative gamers and those guys. Right, let's talk match play games. Page 68, introducing match play, pitch play battles. And now we've got Knife to the Heart. Exciting, that's back. Total Conquest, Battle for the Pass. So that's 3 so far. Star Strike still in it. Scorched Earth still in it. Focal Points is still in it. Better Part of Valor, Shifting Objectives, Place of Arcane Power. Something called the Blade's Edge. Total Commitment and Forcing the Hand, which actually, on the wave of the Me Too movement, that doesn't sound very effective and shouldn't be. I'm not into that.
Well, we'll need to read the narrative first.
Forcing the Hand.
I'd like to know the narrative behind each match play battle plan.
Evening Battle Chode. So that means we've lost... Oh, just getting Nathan back. We've lost Relocation
Orb,
but I don't know what else we've lost, right?
Blood and Glory.
Oh no, that's in the core book.
Okay.
That's in the core
But is that
book.
not gone now? Because the core ones were in the last general handbook, weren't they? Or were they just on the cards? They were just on the cards.
Yeah, they were in the. So the general's handbook had some, and then you could go to the core book and get some others out of there.
What else?
Yes.
Should we lose any of these? Battle for the Past. No.
Yeah.
Escalation. Escalation's gone.
Oh, Escalation has gone. That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked Escalation. I thought that was really good. Well, so I talked about this on the show today with Owen. So I already did this a little bit today, and I said I would actually just be fine if they just reprinted the battle plans. Like we didn't have much of a run out with some of the battle plans, and I think the GHB2020 was really good for battle plans, right?
Yeah, I think it's a
Nath,
hard one.
you don't agree?
I understand they're doing it, but they just haven't brought any out. Like, we haven't just had enough out of that book, I don't think.
Yeah, we didn't get Nath. Do you not agree?
No, I still think Shifting Objectives was crap.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's still in there. The Shifting Objectives is in there.
Is that in their core one, is it?
Oh, Duality's gone, apparently.
Well, that's 3 that have gone, so it can't be 3 that are gone.
Why?
Because there's only 2 new ones.
Yeah, but maybe they've taken... How many were in the last one?
12.
12. And how many have we got now?
12. For the science. Yeah. Oh, so Duality of Death apparently is gone. That's the one that's gone. So Duality of Death is gone. Okay. Duality sucks, so that's good. Okay, Escalation is core book. Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. The cards
Okay.
are confusing. They did
So,
both, didn't they?
so duality of death has gone, and this isn't as organised. Sorry that this just landed in our laps right now. So duality of death is gone, and relocation orb is gone. Okay, that's good. That's good. Although, yeah, I mean, it was quite hard having your army split up in duality of death and relocation orb. But like I said earlier with Owen today, I'm not too stressed about them changing them around. Like, I'm quite happy about having mostly the same battle plans, and I'm hoping the 2 new battle plans are really good. So, are there any there that you don't like, or any of those that you really like? Nathan,
Well, I mean,
Go on.
they probably will have rewritten the rules for them, won't they? Like they did for the last time, because
Yeah,
they
it
had
could
the
be.
same name, but they were different rules.
Well, there's at least different deployments in some cases, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like focal points, they moved around where the deployments were. So it'd be fun to see that.
Yeah.
Truthfully, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said earlier today, I wouldn't mind just them having repeated it. There is excitingly meeting engagements 2020.
Oh, so excited!
Oh, yes. So we can skip that straight away. And then there is the Pitched Battle Coalition of Death. There is whatever the fuck that is. These are all different battle plans for meeting engagements. And then there is the Coalition Matrix, the Realm of Battle rules, which we've seen a bit today, and the Matched Play Auxiliary Objectives, which I think is what the secondary objectives are going to be. So some new secondary objectives, auxiliary objectives, I think, or maybe there'll be core secondary objectives in every battle plan, which will be really fun. Nathan, a bit like old MoComp, right, where there's just a random other secondary objective.
Yeah. Oh, what? So instead of having ones that you choose, you've got ones that are designated to those specific scenario.
Or just all the time. Could be also another example as well. Like a good example would be killing the general. Like
one that just is always active, no matter what scenario you play.
Yes, could be.
Oh, okay.
Could be.
Yeah. That could be a cool thing.
That could be a cool thing. But it could just be, like Owen said in the chat, it could just be hidden agendas played face up. But the Realm of Battle rules is something, obviously, that we've seen today. So how do you both feel about the fact that artifacts from the realms are going to be going away, and the Realm of Battle rules are going to be in match play, but they only have one spell per realm, a command ability, an artifact, and a Realmscape feature, so only one Realmscape feature as well. So it's quite clear that. Do you know what I mean by that? Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
What do
So
you think
they've
about that?
simplified it so that it makes it more likely that people will play them, I guess. Whereas before it was a whole different game. Like just playing the realm rules was a game in itself. So yeah, fair enough. We'll have to see how they affect the game, I guess. But yeah, it seems more likely that people will play them now. Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think. So I had this conversation today. I think it depends on what TOs want to do effectively. Like, I don't think that we should play in a completely voidless dome of zero narrative, right? Where it's just two armies just pitch up and just attack each other. You know, what the hell are we doing here? Sort of situation. Oh, you're here. I'm just trying to fight. And I like the idea that there is realm rules, but unfortunately, I think that what we saw from the realm rules last time was that they were fairly unbalanced, and I would like to see them generally go away. Truth be told, and I talked about the parity with 40k, where 40k it seems like what they're doing is they're centralizing how everyone is going to play 40k by having the same maps. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I didn't know that about 40k. What, they're just making a set list of maps that people use, is it? Depending on the scenario or something?
As far as I understand, it's just actually one map, effectively.
So everybody fights for the same place all the time?
But the missions will be different, deployment of where objectives will be, but the scenario layout effectively will be the same.
So what's in the map? The terrain?
Yes.
Okay, so you're always fighting in the same sort of terrain layout?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, fair enough. Yeah. That'll be nice for 40k players. Good.
Do not it's a good point as well. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys in the Twitch chat. We'll all go down the same. We'll go down the same line. You've obviously got no realm rules. Like, what would you prefer? What do you think? No realm rules, or the whole everyone at a tournament plays under the same realm rules? Like, we're all playing Realm of Fire this round, or we're playing the Realm of Fire all weekend, or would you prefer everyone to play different random realm rules as they go through the tournament? What's your choices, James?
I think I've done events that kind of do all of those, and I think it depends on the realm rules, doesn't it? So I know like there was a small preview today, but I think like if they're balanced and bring some difference to the game, then that's great, because sometimes they can buff an army, sometimes they can negatively affect an army. But I think they can be interesting, and I think the narrative's a good part of the game. So I would say, for me, I would think that actually the best thing is that what you do is you have realm rules in play, but they change every game. My concern is that there might be within the batch that they've released ones that are more that do game affecting things than others. So there used to be that stupid rain one. So if you took hordes, you could lose hundreds of models, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Like those don't work. Whereas the ones that randomly give you a spell that brings something to your army, like extra rend, sometimes don't benefit people at all, but sometimes benefit armies a lot, and they can make the matchups more interesting, I think. So I guess maybe from the side of someone that's commentated and played, I just think they bring an interesting level to the game and a different level of tactics. But I think if you put the same realm with the same rules and there's only a small contingent to a whole weekend, then it'd just get abused. It's got to either change or have none at all for me.
Okay. Nathan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I do like the idea of the realm rules, but the practicality of it is that it just adds stuff to do in the game, and quite often, particularly in tournament play, which is what we're talking about, you sometimes feel a bit rushed for time, and so unless the realm rules are nice and simple, quick to play, and they do add something to the game, I just think you may as well not bother. Just play with all the rules that you've got ready, because you've got plenty of them on your war scrolls and in the all the other handbooks that you have to carry around with you.
Okay, I have a follow-up. Thank you to Sir Callum in the chat. Could I convince you to play realm rules at a tournament if it was decided via a giant spinning wheel that they had with clickers? Yeah, like the and went around, and one of the options was everyone takes their top off.
Who's playing?
Everyone at a tournament.
Oh, I don't know. Depends who's there. I spotted that James Thompson's in the chat. If he's taking his top off, I'm on board.
Nathan, thoughts?
Now I want to see his response.
The wheel sounds fun, but maybe we can do something else with the wheel.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds fair. We'll throw knives at it with someone stood inside it or something.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
That sounds more fun. Big shout out to Budtastic Guy. I forgot half my rules as it is without having to remember an extra set each game. I think that seems fair. Like, I understand the level of nuance, and I also think it's a great tool for TOs. Like, a TO's like, I want to do my whole weekend in the realm of Shadow. You're like, that's cool. That's really fun, especially if you announce it ahead of time. 6 months' time, we're doing the Shadow Wars. And you're like, okay, that's cool. Like, bring your army from the realm of Ulglu. And then you'd be like, and maybe even you buy a new army, paint it up, for that particular setting. That's pretty funky.
Rebase your whole army.
Yeah. But so I'm into that. But truthfully, I feel my feeling is that for tournaments, and this is just my personal feeling on the subject, I feel for tournaments they add an extra layer which we don't need. Especially for, as Nath said, even if it was round by round. Last time it was the Realm of Fire, this time it's the Realm of Light. That's a lot to remember in the game, I truly do think. So how do you two feel about losing Realm artifacts? Because that's also going to be the other conclusion that we're getting to.
Well, I think some armies are obviously going to lose out, particularly from the older books, because some of their Allegiant artifacts are not as good as some of the newer ones. But I don't know. I'm not bothered either way because I seldom took realm artifacts. I started just concentrating on ones in the book. Even when I played Cities of Sigmar, I was taking the ones from the city. So yeah. So personally, it won't affect me, but I can see it affecting people in the game that are playing particularly older books or ones with more limited access to artifacts. Because some of the cities they've only got 3 artifacts each, whereas some books have got like loads of artifacts. Like the Git's book as well, quite a few of the artifacts. Some of the heroes can't access artifacts out of the book. For instance, the Ragnarok spider shaman guy is a hero. He can't use an artifact out of the book. The fungoid cave shaman can't use any artifacts from the book. So, and I'm sure that's the case with some of the other books, particularly the older ones. Whereas the newer books, they've got tons of artifacts for everybody can use them, pretty much.
They do. Plenty of artifacts going all around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and some armies were built around whole artifacts. You know, R.I.P. the Aether Quartz brooch, the Ethereal amulet. You know, whole armies and playstyles were built around that. Nathan, do not forget busting in on a man just after he'd finished having sex and screaming at the top of your lungs that you'd managed to select 7 wars thanks to the Aether Quartz brooch.
I don't know if he had finished, but yeah, I remember that.
Had he not finished?
He might not have. Who knows? He didn't tell me, to be sure.
Well, you should be able to tell when someone finishes. They shout their own name, right? Or at least that's what I do.
Wow.
Wowie.
Wow.
Wowie. All right.
Is that also when you masturbate?
No, weirdly, I shout your name when I finish.
Fuck.
Right, anyway, so General's Handbook's coming out. I'm personally very excited, and it's going on pre-order this weekend, so we should see articles all week, which is really cool. There is another section on this article that's just been here where they talk about multiplayer battles, which I feel is a little bit tone deaf at the minute. Obviously, the fact that we have to all socially distance and aren't encouraged to gather in groups, I feel that is, but I can see obviously this was written before COVID, so they weren't really planning on this happening, right?
Yeah, they were probably trying to encourage social interaction rather than discourage it.
Yes, that's
in
probably...
the old days. In them old days.
Big shout out to Teetlax for subscribing. Thanks, bud. Anyway, okay. So GHB's out. Really exciting time. New battle plans. Really exciting. Points changes. James, Nathan, I'm going to want your, and Twitch chat, I'm going to want your top 3 points changes and why. What do you want to change points and why? Nathan, what are you thinking?
Shit, I hadn't thought about it. You go first, and I'll quick think.
Okay, you two think about it. James, ponder on. Top 3. I want to see croaks, salamanders, and eels change. That's being unfair. Like, I'll do salamanders. Hold on, I'll do salamanders, eels, and gaunt. I want the gaunt summoners to just change. Those are my 3.
Change or points change?
I just say summon 10 blue horrors, not 10 pinks, and I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Just running. He's very narrative. He just wants the Zinch things to change. Yeah. Mine are Troll Hag, Dreadmore, and
Dreadmore. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not happening. It's a Forge World model, but carry on, Nathan.
They both are so far.
The points are in the General's Handbook and the Colossal Squig.
Okay.
All destruction.
All destruction, all Forge World. Brilliant, Nathan. Brilliant. Absolutely. James, what about you?
Before we start, Quiet War Machine. Marauders do not need a points change. They're fine.
Okay.
I think so. In all fairness, Marauders could probably go up slightly, but I don't actually think that's the issue. I think Chaos Warriors need to go down. Their War Scroll's rubbish. That probably needs rewriting, but that's not going to happen. So I think Chaos Warriors go down. I think Eels need to go up. That would be a big one for me. What would my third one be? I feel like it's been so long since I played.
Can I give you one? Because I have a fourth that I'm desperate to talk about.
Sure.
Alarielle, 0 points. Just free.
Just because we don't see her anymore.
I just think free. Just be like, cool. You're zero, nil point. Yeah, you get a tree and you get a Lariel. Start your Sylvaneth army. Off you go. Yeah,
No,
I'm in.
Do you know what'd be great? My favourite thing would be that you get a Lariel free.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a free Tree Lord, because just standard. Put them on the table. You put a tech list the other side, and you're like, oh, you have 3 models? Oh, they're dead.
No, I'm into it. I think that's my other pick. That's my other pick. I'm just saying. Nathan, how would you feel if Alariel was free? 0 points. What are your thoughts?
Cool. Take 4.
No, you can only take 1. It's a unique character.
I have my third one.
If you're not using points, then you're doing open play, so you can take
Okay,
as many as you want.
10 points for Alariel.
Can you take her in a unit?
Nope, just 1.
In fact, can I rewrite all my points? Because those 2 were too serious for me, I think.
Okay, you can go for it. One more go. One more stab at the thing.
Starting again.
Yeah.
Right. First one. Point drop. Knights of the Realm. 150 points for 8.
What, Bretonians?
They're still in the handbook.
Oh my god. Okay,
Second.
they won't be in this. They won't be in this handbook, mate. You're fucked.
Second.
Yeah.
Enchantress on Unicorn. Point drop.
Okay, still fucked.
Third.
There's no way. There's no way that they are in that.
Craggy.
Damsel on Texas. Oh no, the Trebuchet, because that was good. Craggy, I wrote a list a couple of years ago with the Craggy.
Oh my god, can we get on with the current game?
Right.
I don't give a shit about Craggy. Yeah.
It should be 20 points. A 20-point leader. Amazing.
Oh god. I want to say a big shout out to Warhammer Nerd in the chat because he said this 3 times now over 2 different shows. This is all fascinating, but I really feel my victory over Lumineth Realm Lords with Soulblight yesterday is what everyone should be talking about. So I'd just like to shout that out. Just see what everyone else in the chat is saying. Dudade wants Croak to go up. Daedrin wants Loon King, Trogboss, and a Beast of Chaos book. Marauders, says War Machine. General Griffin going down in points. Leviathan going down. I almost guarantee all of the Leviathans are going. The Leviathans going down, and both of the Wave boys, the Eidolons, will be going down 10 points at least. No Balewind. Bound Endless Spells should go up loads. Cheaper should go Dreicher, Trogboss, and Bloodthirsters. Cheaper trees across the board. More Crusher down, not up. Nathan, what do you think about that? Do you reckon the More Crusher could be a bit cheaper?
Yeah, I reckon it could. I don't think it's viewed as a competitive choice at the moment. Although it's still valid in a competitive army, but yeah, it could go down in points. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And just because Tetelak seems to be the only other Chaos Dwarf player in the world, like me, it says Drazaroth the Ashen going down. Drazaroth the Ashen could probably go down to 100 points because he sucks.
That's because he's a Chaos Dwarf.
No, it's not because he's a Chaos Dwarf. It's because he's got a Dwarf with 1 attack. 1 attack with his hammer.
Are you ready for this?
That's why he sucks.
Are you ready for this?
Chaos
What
Dwarf.
am I to see? You've got a Drazaroth the Ashen. Why have you got a Chaos Dwarf? Yes, Nathan, there's another one.
I can't.
Why have you got a Drazaroth?
You see him? There he is. No? Where
No.
the fuck is this?
Also
Yeah,
terrible
I got
audio.
one. Anyway, he's here.
Well, how come you've got one?
Because ages ago when I was at Forge World, the one day, and I said to myself, I can't remember who I was playing, so apologies if it was you, anyone in the chat. And I decided that basically, if I won a game, the game I was playing, because I was losing bad, I was like, right, if I win, I'm going to buy myself a ridiculous Forge World model.
And that's the one you chose.
And this was my choice. So there we go.
So you made a pact with the devil.
Yeah, here he is.
Ah,
Yeah.
great.
It's a great model.
Okay. All
If
right.
I had an army to go with him, but he's cool.
Okay. Right. Also, yeah, if you type in !Legion, it does say rude things. If you wanted a Legion, if you want a Legion of Asgore points drops really quickly, Drazaroth down to 100 points. Bull Centaur Raiders down to 120. Kadai can stay the same, and you could put the Magma Cannons down 30 points, maybe 40 points, and obviously you could take the mortar, not the Dreadquake. The Dreadquake mortar can go down to like 80 points in today's current climate, if that helps any of you out, but no one will give a shit. Yeah, I hope Vorgrath goes down. Johnny Derp, that's a good one as well. The big Corn Dragon could definitely go down points as well. From 1,200 points, could go down to like a solid 800, and then just see where we're at. Johnny Derp says, I ordered it last week, that's why. Okay, all right. All right. Okay, so yeah, that's the General Handbook. Obviously more on that as things come out, but that was just meant to be the news section, but it was a slightly longer news section because of the new thing. But there we go.
Oh, exciting.
Now today's show on the Honest Wargamer, we are doing some rundowns like it's 2018. Are we going? Yeah, which is these are going to be even less useful because these will be valid for 1 week. Because of points changes coming from the GHB. So 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But we're all going to do a rundown with the new GHB popping up. Obviously, we'd like to do rundowns again in the future. That's kind of what we do. And if you haven't experienced a rundown before, what happens is we talk through the narrative of the model, we talk about what the model looks like, and then we talk about the rules, and we include a list at the end. That's the process of a rundown. James, what did you decide to go for, and why?
I went for the Gorgon, because me and you have debated many times that it's the best model in Age of Sigmar that no one ever uses.
Okay. All right. Nathan, what did you decide to go for?
The gun hauler.
Why?
Because it's got guns and it hauls ass. No, just because I painted one up and I played a game with it and I thought it was cool, so...
Was it cool, though? Did it kill anything?
That's not the point. It was still cool. Don't have to kill stuff to be cool.
You don't have to kill stuff to be cool. You're right. You are 100% right. And then I decided to do the Helstorm rocket battery. That's what I decided to do.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah. I was going to do Black Coach, but I'd actually done Black Coach before, so I decided to reinvent myself and go for the Helstorm rocket battery.
I thought you just did the Black Coach all the time anyway.
Yeah, just every time. I just do the Black Coach on repeat. That's my thing. So, Twitch chat, you get to decide who you would like to go first. Which rundown do you want to see? Do you want to see... yeah, I know. Right, which rundown first? Do you want to see... the Black Coach is a stunning model, hook and pin. I agree with that. So, the Helstorm... Dude, I see Prescott. Another Helstorm, yo. Oh, it looks like I picked the popular one this week. There we go. All right, go me. Fuck you guys.
Because no one's got any taste.
You are going to get all of them, but here begins the rundown for the Helstorm rocket battery. Okay, so narrative. Now, need to talk about the narrative of the Helstorm rocket battery. Anything from the Cities of Sigmar, unfortunately and obviously, doesn't have any real narrative. Have either of you two read the narrative for the Cities of Sigmar?
No.
Yes.
What did you think, Nath? Bit
It
meh.
was good. What, the book? The stories about the different cities?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right. They talked about cities full of people doing things.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they didn't go.
Specific unit.
Yeah, they didn't really go. They really didn't go into specifics, did they?
Thank fuck for that.
Oh, I would have read about that. Because now I need some justification. Because obviously I was reading on the wiki earlier about Helstorm rocket batteries and where their narrative comes from. And there was a mad inventor and he went to the east in the old world and he learned the secrets of rockets and brought it back to the Empire and then kept blowing up different workshops and it was all super cool. And now it's just kind of they've got missiles, but I'm are they powered by aether quartz? Are they using who knows what's is it black powder that's projecting those missiles, or is it like a worm from a tree that they put in there, and then when they set it on fire, it fires like a bug, like Starship Troopers? That's
I guess it depends which narrative you're going for, which city you want to go for.
Well, so I actually have decided
you can make your own, can't you?
You can make your own city, but I've gone for Tempest Eye specifically. So
okay, there you go. So they could possibly have been influenced by the Caradron.
Oh
but yeah. Except I don't think Caradron like it when other people use Aether Gold. So no.
So not that.
No.
Okay. But some cool conversions you could do. You could do a gun haul or a frigate, but have it on a base, and then have the Helstorm rocket battery as part of it.
Oh yeah, you could have a Caradron 1 actually. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Okay, well, because there wasn't much narrative in it, I decided to just generally look at rockets. Also, don't forget, everyone, you are voting for the best rundown, so I'm trying really hard here to pitch this to you guys. So I decided to just research regular rockets. Does anyone know when rockets were invented?
Tuesday.
Wrong.
Oh.
What year? What year were they invented?
1074 BC.
1074 BC. Before 3,000 years ago. Okay, all right. Okay, bold choice. James?
I'd probably say I'm gonna say. Let me try and work out. I reckon 1200 AD.
Okay, so you were only 100 years off. Unfortunately, Nathan, you were 2,000 years off. Because they were invented in 1100 AD. Yeah.
Okay.
The first, in China, these rockets were used solid propellants and were mainly used as weapons and fireworks. It was not until the 1920s, though, that rocket societies emerged. That's right, rocket societies. And that is what I would say if me and a group of friends all wanted to play Helstorm rocket batteries at an event. I'd call us the Rocket Society. And that is reason alone to run this list. Yeah? Who doesn't want to be... Tell me who doesn't want to be part of my Rocket Society? Yeah? Nathan, why don't you want to be part of my Rocket Society?
Sounds rubbish.
Oh, God. Okay.
He's not a fan.
He's not.
Besides, your rockets are loads younger than my rockets. Mine were 2,000 years older than yours.
Yeah, your rockets are never going to work. Yours are just a stick. Someone's just throwing a stick. He's like, this is a rocket, it's a spear.
Yeah, exactly.
You got ages.
Did you see that guy that made a pneumatic rocket, that hydraulic one?
No.
Powered by water. A steam rocket type thing.
I did not see that.
No, killed himself with it, but it was good.
Did
impressive. Yeah, impressive how fast it took off.
Okay, good. I didn't know that. Okay. Right, so the rocket societies emerged, and by the 1930s and 40s, professional rocket engineering took off. 3 pioneers began working independently on developing rockets to reach space. Konstantin... Oh, no. Russian, and Hermann Oberth were the first to work out many essential principles and to realize the rocket was the means to travel to space. This sparked interest in rocketry and space travel. In 1926, Robert Goddard launched the world's first liquid-propelled rocket. There you go. So rockets have been a thing for ages. There we go. I'm just going to hold off on this because it turns out internet is broken. But I'm going to carry on anyway. No. Yeah.
We're going to win.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I think we win by...
We're going to win because nobody's going to hear your one.
Let's pretend he's finished when we come back.
Yeah.
Nice. When we get back online, we'll just be like, "Oh, Rob was done.
Yeah.
Rob was done."
We would.
We were. Yeah, Rob's finished. So Nathan, your turn.
The Dreadmore.
Right, so that's rockets. That's the background. But
Rockets.
what do you think of the? What do you guys think of the model? The model is a sleek, elegant set of 9 rockets with an accompanying crew. What do you think of the Helstorm rocket battery as a model?
Always misses if they don't face the right way.
It does. It misses quite often. I think it's really.
I like the fact in your picture all the models are on squares still.
Yes, it was very hard to find one that was actually on rounds. But the one that's been linked is the one that is actually from the miniature painters, or whoever those guys are. So thanks very much for linking that. I really like the model. I think it's really rad. It's got 9 nice rockets, and it's got a cheeky fellow holding his ears who's like, "Don't shoot me!" and another guy holding a rocket. Tell me what's not to love.
The guy holding his ears. I don't love him.
You
Coward.
don't love him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that's the model. I really like the model. I think you can paint it up quite nice. I think the frontage on the tips means you could do some cool, like, whatever color your army scheme is, you can obviously paint those up. And it's quite a large model for the tabletop. Like, I think it's even a little bit bigger than the Stormcast Ballista, which is quite funky. And a group of them look really rad. But anyway.
What's a group of rocket batteries called?
A cell? Nice.
A rocket society?
Yes! That's perfect.
Or a society of rockets.
I'm just gonna change the list, the name of my list now that I've put on the Honest Wargame website. So I've written a list to talk about, in which I've included the rockets. And the reason I've decided to talk about the rockets today and my rocket society is because they're going to answer a problem which is coming whenever it's released in a cheeky-looking elf with his mount. And that is to deal with techless. This is what their job is to do, is to shoot at a techless. So I will talk about the rules for the model, if that's okay with you guys.
Yep.
Cool.
So it's got 7 wounds, it moves 3 inches, and it's got a 4-up save, and it's bravery 5. Now, straight off, 7 wounds means it's going to be quite tough, even over 2 turns, to do chip damage to it via mortal wounds. So if you've got a croak and it's doing like its endless spells, not its endless spells, it's doing its spells from the other side of the board. Even if you max out, it will still take you 3 turns to kill it, not 1. If you manage to get a Techless spell off on it, even if you do D6 mortal wounds and you do a 6, you still haven't killed it. So 7 wounds is just a really nice section to have them in. I like that. And the movement 3 inches is actually super important. Because its range on its rocket salvo is 36 inches. 10 inches to 36 inches. So it's got an effective range of 39 inches. And as we've talked about before, the Technado is 37 inches.
Yep.
So we outranged the Nado, right? Which is fun. And they do 3 shots each, and they hit on 5s. They wound on 3s, and it's Ren 2, and it does D3 damage. And they cost 130 points, is what they cost. However, they've got some special abilities. If you fire all the rockets at a model, at the same unit, then you get to add +1. So they hit on 4s, right?
Cool. Yeah.
And also, if you have a engineer nearby, or an Ironweld Arsenal engineer nearby, then they get to re-roll hit rolls of 1. So hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s before you do anything else, just based on the War Scroll, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, obviously, so it's a pretty funky War Scroll, 130 points. So I've written a list that includes 4 of them. 4 of them. So our little Rocket Society, which is obviously going to now be the name of the list. I'm going to rechange it. And now, now I've only written my list, and I'm only doing my rundown based on Tempest Eye. Obviously, like Hawkeye is saying in the chat, you could put them in grey water fastness, and you could be getting plus inches to your range. But the reason that I really like having them in Tempest Eye is because obviously you're going to be able to give them pluses to wound, and it also benefits the rest of my army. So I'm only spending, I'm spending 520 points on 4 of them, so it's a large portion of my army. So I want them to do well. So I've included in my list a Hurricanum, a Anointed of Assyrian on Flamespire Phoenix, who is not my general, and then a Cogsmith. Now, I also could include, like Wargaming Dad said in there, I could also add the Stormcast General, so the Ordinator to +1 to hit if I wanted to. So I could be hitting on 2s because I've got the Hurricanum, re-rolling 1s, and then because I've decided to take the command trait Hawkeye on my Hurricanum from the army, they're going to be wounding on 2s. But in my setup, they're hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, wounding on 2s, yeah, and I'm firing 12 shots at 39 inches, which is pretty fun. And then I've got 3 lots of 10 free guild, 30 Phoenix Guard, because they're just like my objective holding tank unit, 10 Shadow Warriors to deep strike, and that's my army. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Yeah, sounds pretty shooty. So how many shots are you doing all together again?
12 shots.
12
hitting on 3s.
Yeah.
Rerolling 1s.
Yeah.
Wounding on 2s.
Yeah.
Rend 2. D3 damage.
Yeah. So that's quite nice to reach out and touch people far away.
Yeah. And that also means that obviously, so like even if they all go through, which is unlikely, then on average you do about 24 damage. But I'm just trying to kill Techless. That's what I'm trying to do, or Croak. And even at 39 inches, that's some pretty impressive range, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so have you rolled it out? How many turns does it take for them to kill Techless, for instance?
Just one.
Just one turn, he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If he has a 5-up DPR, he's not dead. Takes 2 turns.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Cool.
which is pretty fun. It depends where Croak is on the board. It'd be really tough to get to Croak. But that Rend 2 is actually super nice, right?
Yeah. Definitely is.
And it's pretty rubbish against hordes because it's more of like an elite punchy sort of shot. So I did toy with the idea of putting in maybe some gyrocopters and get them to clear out hordes or something. But I decided to just go for that really boring block of the Phoenix Guard. I mean, you can make the whole army better by not having a Flamespire Phoenix, by having a Frostheart Phoenix and making the whole army -1 to wound as well.
Yeah.
And obviously being in Tempest Eye, it gets +1 save on the first turn. So those Phoenix Guard are basically indestructible. And then they can kind of run around together and engage in the midfield, which I think is fun. And the Shadow Warriors I think are quite cool because they force the back. You have got to defend the back objectives. So
Yeah.
that's my rundown. That's what I'm doing. The Rocket Society. That's what I'm after. What do you think?
Yeah, Gorgons would smash it.
Oh, no way. No way. I think it's quite fun. I really like the Flamespire Phoenix as well because I just think it's super fun as a model. Obviously, like charge it in, you do 5 more wounds, it dies, it comes back to life, you fly it off again. I think that's really fun as well. And also, Phoenix is a super survivable in Tempest Eye. Obviously, you've also got that plus movement at the start of the game as well. So you could do some really interesting and fun stuff with that. So I'm into it. I think it's fun, and I think those Helstorms aren't bad. I'd be very excited if they end up going down points in the GHB, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's a really strong model. I just don't think it fits into many lists, and maybe not that many people own them. Maybe that's why we don't see them as much.
Well, I'd love everyone's review on my list. I'll include the list in the show notes below. Let me know what you think, and also if you like Helstorm rocket batteries, I want to know. That's my rundown over. I fucking nailed it. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, they sound good, and I mean, they have been fairly decent through all of Age of Sigmar, don't you think? I remember the hell was that guy? Jay. Remember Jay from Hard 6? He used to
Run them.
them. Yeah. Shoot people with them. So, yeah. Did quite well. I think
think
they've been solid.
Yeah, I think they're definitely a thing. I think they're
Yeah,
definitely a thing. It's whether it's what you take them in the rest of the army, but I think that +1 to wound, so they're wounding more reliably, is super important. That's why they're in Tempest Eye, so they're wounding on 2s as opposed to wounding on 3s. But yeah, I think that's the thing. And it could look really cool as an army as well. Like that little rocket society, you could all have them with what ho, chaps? It's time to fire some goddamn rockets at those bloody fellows across the road.
Keeping our distance.
Socially.
Yeah.
Socially.
Keeping socially distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me know.
Good time.
Let me know what you guys think of my rundown. I'd like to hear it. Right.